Terry Murray, managing partner with Performance Transformation, recently had the opportunity to address the members of the American Society for Training and Development at their annual conference. Terry shared his insights on equine facilitated learning and how it can deliver tangible value for leadership development, team building, and sales in today's highly dynamic business environment.
Well, good morning, and thank you for spending some time with us this morning. What I'd like to do is just very quickly provide some context as to why this is so efficacious as a training and development tool. Horses are prey animals, and as prey animals, they're highly sensitive to their environment. They live continuously on the edge of fight, flight, or freeze response. It's how they survive in the wild. Their first response to danger is to flee. There are two types of herding animals. There are the groupers, like cattle, that'll just get in a big group and try to protect themselves as a group. And then there are the runners, deer, antelope, and horses, which live in much smaller herds because of that defense mechanism. Horses use emotion as information. Horses will feel an emotion, get the message behind that emotion, take appropriate action, and return to grazing. Unlike us, who tend to like to carry our emotional responses around with us throughout the rest of the day, horses let it go and just return to grazing. And as a matter of fact, horses can be seen as emotional savants. When we talk about emotional intelligence, horses display behavior that is highly emotionally intelligent. They use their emotions as information, and as what we like to say, we try to get people to get off the dance floor and into the balcony so that they can begin to observe their own emotions as well. Not only are horses incredibly sensitive emotionally, they're also masters of nonverbal communication. 90% of how we communicate as human beings is nonverbal, yet we're so enamored with language because it's such a powerful tool for us, we tend to ignore some of the nonverbal communication skills that we have. And when you look at horses, horses not only are emotionally savant, but they communicate continuously nonverbally. They don't have that facility of speech. Why is all this stuff important? Well, the reason why it's important, if we take a look at the IBM CEO survey of 2010, CEOs said from around the world the single most important leadership attribute they were looking for in the future is creativity and the ability of leaders to cultivate a creative culture. That takes engagement, which really leads to another second challenge that we have in today's culture, is that culture of disengagement. If we look at the research done by the Gallup Company, upwards of 3/4 of employees in the United States are not emotionally engaged with their work. However, further research shows that when we do engage our associates and our customers on an emotional as well as cognitive level, we can experience improvements in financial performance upwards of 240%. So how do we partner with horses in order to cultivate leadership, cultivate teamwork, cultivate communication? As I mentioned earlier, horses are masters of nonverbal communication and are highly emotionally present. They are an emotional mirror for human beings. They pick up on our emotion immediately when we're in connection with them, when we're in their presence. And they reflect that back to us without any judgment. Remember I said they use emotions as information. They don't rethink and overthink their emotions. They just react to their emotions. In order to connect with a horse, we first must connect with ourselves. And that's the first step of presence. It's the first step of self-awareness, which leads to social awareness, self-management, and relationship management, the tenets of emotional intelligence. So we create these environments in which we enable people to experience contact with a horse. They're not riding horses at any given time. That is not part of what we do. But the work with the horse is very self-reflective, and it enables leaders, it enables teams to elevate their self-awareness in a very non-judgmental area and in an environment that's very different than what they're typically accustomed to in a learning session. So that also lowers the barriers to learning. As far as leadership is concerned, it's no coincidence that some of the most fantastic leaders throughout history were phenomenal horse people as well. Alexander the Great, Joan of Arc. George Washington was known to be the best horse trainer in the colonies at the time of the Revolutionary War. Even into our modern times, when we go and look at someone like Ronald Reagan, while we may not all agree with his politics, his nickname was the Great Communicator. And it's the ability to build these nonverbal communication skills, to be emotionally present, that really enables leaders to engage with themselves first so that they then can engage, connect, engage, and inspire the people around them that they are charged to lead. It's a very powerful modality for that. As far as team building is concerned, well, horses evolved to be highly functional teams. They're remarkably functional teams, and that team that is the herd emerged in such a way that they are continuously connected and engaged with one another, non-verbally. They're looking out for one another, while at the same time they're respecting each other's personal boundaries. And you can see that in some of the horse work that we do. When a horse gets too close to another horse, that horse is going to let them know, hey, this is my space. And actually, as part of what we do in the safety development is we actually help people physically establish healthy boundaries, which is a really powerful tool, not only in teams, but in leadership as well. So we have these highly sentient beings that are connected, in motion, while respecting each other's emotional and physical boundaries. That's a pretty good dynamic for the basis of building good teamwork.